What we're curious about and wondering after yesterday is will we be able to see Miles win that big game this year because of the Big Ten's announcement, the Ivy League's announcement. 48 hours ago, the Ivy League announced that all fall sports were going to be suspended. 24 hours ago, the Big Ten announced that their fall schedule was going to move to a conference-only schedule, including football. From there, it was reported that Brandon Marcello of 247 Sports is saying that the SEC will now be discussing a conference-only football schedule for the 2020 season during a meeting next week. What was your feeling after yesterday's decisions around the sport?
Oh, if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that I don't know. I didn't find it particularly shocking, right? We talked about it on this show. We had mentioned the rumors of the Big Ten. Yesterday we had the whole plague analogy where we talked about like trade routes breaking down and places becoming insular and how we could see a similar thing happen in college football if everybody goes conference only. So that's exactly where you are right now. I kind of remain, in terms of will football happen, I remain unmoved today. I still think football will happen. It's like we said, it's probably going to happen in a conference-only fashion. Now, we can get into it. It's a bummer. You're going to lose some really good interconference matches. What does it do for groups like for the group of five schools? Like, for instance, The Athletic has a great article up right now about the relationship between the Big Ten and the MAC. That's a very close relationship. Big Ten, oldest Power 5 conference, MAC, oldest group of five. Basically, every MAC school was set to make about $1 to $2 million by playing their Big Ten counterparts. So there are, like, I am not sure what happens on that level of football. I can't pretend to know. That feels precarious to me. The group of five does, and how they navigate this. They were already having budget issues back in May due to the corona, the pandemic and everything. But in terms of major college football, it still goes back to what we said yesterday. I think there's too much money behind it. I think people are still going to try everything they can to make that happen. Now, I think there's a chance that the season could be pushed back, Jordy, depending on how this spike goes over the next couple of weeks. I think that would make a lot of sense. I think I read that the ACC, I only read this one place, so I haven't read them all, but the ACC said they're not starting fall athletics till September 1st, yeah. Right? Okay, yeah. So pushback makes sense. But this move from the conferences makes sense also because, like, okay, what are the words that you keep hearing about now? Uncertain, right? Shifting, fluid. In these uncertain times, you want to try to minimize the amount of variables that you're dealing with. And when you're talking about all the moving parts that go into a national college football season, that's an incredible amount of variables. And hell, even playing a conference-only schedule, there's still a ton, but there are less. And you can make a more codified, okay, this is how we're doing things. This is how we're going to travel. This is how we're going to treat hotels. Our players are going to wear masks, like the plastic mask on the face mask, or maybe they won't. It gives these conference commissioners more control. So honestly, I didn't find this surprising. And while it is unfortunate and you're losing a lot of good games, I still don't know that I feel like football is any more threatened today than it was yesterday.
Definitely not in the SEC.
Yeah.
And one thing,
Pac-12, I don't know. Yeah. I don't feel great about the Pac-12.
I mean, when you look around and you get a sense of people in boardrooms making decisions right now about what's going to happen a couple of months from now, it's very uncertain. One thing that feels for certain is that the Southeastern Conference is going to play. I just think that talking to too many people around the sport, that there is too much emphasis to get on the field because of the finances and what the implications could be if you don't play. In fact, we'll talk to Dr. Lauren Scott about that coming up in just a little under an hour. In about 35 minutes, Dr. Lauren Scott, who is the well-known economist here in our region, especially in our state, will stop by and talk about what the impact could look like if college football does not exist for a community like Baton Rouge. So I'm with you, T. I don't, I think that yesterday, while the threat of college football doesn't feel like it is hanging in peril, yesterday was just a bad day from the news cycle standpoint, that you saw a lot of decisions starting to be made about what it was going to look like in the fall, and the Big Ten announced. I think that Big Ten announcement took some people by surprise. I think
it definitely did. I can't even remember where the original, because I remember asking somebody a question this week, like, if you heard the rumors about the Big Ten, and they were like, no, I think I want to say maybe it was Nicole Auerbach's Twitter was maybe floating, and I could be wrong, but she is the one who broke the Big Ten news from The Athletic, their national football, college football writer. She's very good. She's also the one that was kind of in on the Pac-12 news as well, that they're leaning that direction. But either way, it was a rumor that had some traction, but to your point, not as much traction as something that happens, right? Like there was still a good chance that it felt like that didn't happen. Normally, if something's going to come down that big, a ton of people know about it. Not even the group of five knew about it. I mean, you had Toledo's AD out there kind of expressing a little frustration with the Big Ten that there wasn't more as we mentioned, the MAC and the Big Ten are so close that there wasn't more collaboration and conversation between the two. So it surprised some people. And to be fair, if I had still in my head thought yesterday that football was going to be played in a fully normal sense, perhaps this would feel more dire to me personally. I think I just already started to mentally prep myself for this being the next step.
On a day that featured a ton of news coming out of the cycle, was there anything more dumb of news coming out than the NFL banning jersey swaps? I mean, like, I thought that was a joke. I really didn't think that was a joke when I read it come across the timeline.
Hey.
Like, after 4 hours of laying on each other and sweating on top of each other, we're not going to allow you to shake hands and exchange jerseys after the game for a picture. It
shows such a, well, I guess to me, yeah, exactly. That's it right there, right? It's such a fundamental disconnect in terms of just logic and like what makes sense. If it's not safe enough to jersey swap, then it's not safe enough to play. To me, that's the funniest part about all of this. I get what they were saying. It's kind of like a path to hell is paved with good intentions. They're trying to say, look at us. We're abiding as much as we can by social distancing and by all these other rules. But like I said, the implication to me in that is that you're saying it's not safe to jersey swap. Well, then if you're saying that, then how the hell are you telling me that they could go out there and be able to play games? So yeah, that's laughable. It's crazy. Huge disconnect.
All right, we will talk to Hunt Palmer next here on Off the Bench.